A very good evening to each and every one of you. My name is Ashish Vaswani and you are watching a special newscast by Deadlines Tonight. This evening, we bring to you a roundup of the Union Budget that was tabled in Parliament by our Honourable Finance Minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley. A whole lot of media frenzy had been following the Union Budget for the last few days, culminating in the presentation of the budget this morning. Mr. Arun Jaitley has, in a very short span of 6 weeks since the formation of the government, presented a budget that seems very promising. Though we may not have seen a lot of specifics in today's budget, we must appreciate the foresight and vision that the budget has presented. Before we begin our analysis and opinions from different sections of the population, let us give you a brief insight into what the budget had to say. There were three major sections of the budget. A major portion of the announcements made by the Union Finance Minister were about the changes in infrastructure, industry, food and agriculture. A special focus was there on education in the budget presented today, and 5 IITs and IIMs have been announced in addition to the existing institutions in the country. So that is a big change. The Finance Minister has expressed his desire to create an AIIMS in almost every state of India. So that's a welcome initiative. 10,000 crore rupees have been set aside to fund startups by way of equity and debt. A nationwide incubation accelerator program has also been promised. And most importantly, 2,29,000 crore rupees have been allocated for our defense expenditure. So that is a huge leap from the previous governments. That makes the defense capital outlay keeps the defense capital outlay at an increase of 5,000 crore rupees. Coming to infrastructure, 7,060 crores have been set aside for developing 100 new smart cities. Tax benefits for REITs have been promised to aid housing. 16 new port projects are to be awarded in the current financial year. 15,000 kilometers of gas pipeline have been promised via public-private partnership. This is very similar to the public-private partnership that has been promised through the railway budget, which we saw a couple of days back. 37,850 crore rupees have been set aside for highway and state road construction. A special metro rail for Lucknow and Ahmedabad has been proposed. A huge allocation of funds has been promised for rural road development, sanitation and water supply. Coming to food and agriculture, the Food Corporation of India is set to see a major overhaul as promised by the Finance Minister. 5,000 crore rupees have been allocated for setting up food warehouses, and the government is expected to sell the buffer stock to keep food prices low. We already are aware of the Finance Minister's take on food hoarding. Let us now take a look at the changes and announcements from the fiscal deficit and economy point of view. The new government will try to reduce the fiscal deficit to 3.6% of the GDP by March of 2016, and they aim to take it down to 3% by 2017. To meet the previous government's deficit target of 4.1% of GDP by March 2015, the Finance Minister has laid out a roadmap. They are aiming to achieve a tax to GDP ratio of 10.6% very soon. Coming to growth, GDP growth for the whole year is estimated to be in the range of 5.4 to 5.9%. The Finance Minister aims to increase GDP growth to 7 to 8% in the next 3 years. So that's a very welcome change. And though this may not be as high as 11% of the past, but 7 to 8% is a steep increase from the current levels that we are at, sub 5% growth. Key numbers to watch out for in this budget were that disinvestment target of rupees 63,425 crore has been promised, which is higher than the previous year. It's 4 times the previous year actuals of 16,000 crores, so that's something to watch out for. Let us wait and watch whether the finance minister can deliver on these promises. On the subsidies front, Mr. Arun Jaitley has said that 65 years of reforms could not achieve what he has been expected to achieve in 6 weeks. So let us not expect too much out of him in such little time, but he has promised to subsidize certain components of the economy to the extent of 2,51,000 crore vis-a-vis 2,46,000 crore as per the interim budget. Another major section that is always looked up to and people always look forward to is the taxation part of the union budget. No retrospective taxation has been planned by the current government. The existing retrospective taxation is to be reviewed by the Committee of Special Ministers. Procedural changes are in place to make import and export easy. The direct taxes have been left untouched and there are going to be absolutely no changes in the taxation structure. However, the personal tax exemption limit has been increased to 2.5 lakh rupees from 2 lakh rupees. The investment limit tax exemption under section 80C of the Income Tax Act has been increased to rupees 1.5 lakh from the previous 1 lakh. Long-term capital gain tax on mutual fund investments has been raised to 20%. So that is a hike of 100% because the previous figure was 10%. Indirect taxes, the import duties on spare parts for computers, color TV tubes and petrochemicals, also LCD TVs, solar panels, wind turbines are going to be reduced to promote local manufacturing of such products. And reducing the import duty will help us create this technology in our country as well. Import duty or standard import duty on all types of coal is at 4.5% as promised by our finance minister. There is a 3% education cess that is planned for imported electronics. Excise taxes on renewable energy parts, footwear, packaging material, food processing have been reduced. Most importantly for the student community, excise taxes on tobacco products and soft drinks have been increased. The excise taxes in this field have been increased from anywhere between 11% to 72%. So that is a very... The finance minister has said that online media advertisements will also come under the service tax purview now. With that, we've covered most points as explained by the finance minister in the budget session today. Let's take a look at what some stakeholders from our population have to say about the union budget. We will now talk to Mr. Surendra Tatke, who is a service professional from Pune. Let us see what Mr. Tatke has to say. Hello sir.
Hi.
So as you know, the union budget has been announced today, and being a working professional, what were your expectations from the budget? I know you have not gone through it in detail, but what were your expectations?
The major expectation is the government who brings the policies for a common man is very important. Now, for example, if it gives a hike, income tax hike for a common man, that is important.
Okay. So, sir, would you be interested in knowing that Mr. Arun Jaitley, our Honorable Finance Minister, he has increased the exemptions of tax benefits from 1 lakh to 1.5 lakhs now?
I guess 2
lakhs, yeah, to 2 lakhs. And the tax slabs and everything remains the same, but the tax paying consumer has been, as in people who earn up to 2.5 lakhs are exempted from paying tax, which was earlier 2 lakhs.
Correct.
So what kind of a news is this for you? Is it an...
It is definitely helpful. It is definitely a good thing. It is definitely will help a common man to at least what you say. It's a good what they have done.
Also, sir, he has announced 5 new IITs and IIMs, and he has gone to the extent of saying that fiscal deficit, the previous government's attempts at solving the problems behind fiscal deficit, he has not over-promised, and he has gone ahead and said that he will try to achieve the targets maintained by the previous government. So, on the whole, are you positive about the way the current union government is handling the finance ministry?
Definitely, I am positive. We must give a sufficient chance to them.
Yes, so given the
Because
fact that they had
within
only 6 weeks.
Exactly, hardly 6 weeks. So if you give them a sufficient time, they will definitely come out with some good solution. That is what I think.
Any messages for the union ministry, sir? That they can...
Messages, I will only say that they have to think for a common man only, which has not been thought since last 65 years.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your feedback. So
Thank
that
you
was
so
Mr. Tatke on his views and expectations from the budget and whether or not the finance minister was able to fulfill his promises. Moving on, we now take you across to a very specialized set of finance students who are specializing in this field and have been keenly tracking the budget ever since it has been announced. Let us take their viewpoint into consideration and ask them what they felt about the union budget that was presented in Parliament today. Take a look. Hi Harsh. Hi Devashish.
Hey, hi.
Hi Gaurav. We are sitting here to discuss the implications of the union budget that was announced in Parliament today. As students of finance, you all have a lot more clarity about the same. And Devashish, let's start with you. What was your key takeaway as a student of finance, especially since you have been a part of the industry for the last couple of months in your internship, and very soon you will be stepping into the corporate world? What were your key takeaways?
So the key takeaway from this particular budget is that as Modi government had promised, they have come up really well on the manufacturing side. So if you look at the details around the power sector, providing more investment in the power sector, talking about FDI and defense. So these are some areas which everyone was talking about earlier also, and that this should have been done. These are tough decisions, they've taken that, and hopefully this will push the manufacturing sector a bit.
What would you say about the pockets of 100 crore announcements that were made by the finance minister?
I think my friend Harsh here has a really good view on that.
Yeah. Harsh?
So, the 100 crores, I don't know somehow how the finance minister was fascinated by that figure, but he's announced 29 schemes for 100 crores. Now, these are additional schemes as to what the UPA government already has in place. Those schemes will be continuing with respect to the amount of time they've been given and the amount of resources they've been allocated. Now, these are an external burden. Now, how well does he finance these schemes is something that I would be really looking forward to.
So, Gaurav, would you like to add your inputs into this?
Yeah, continuing with the theme of not having gone into specifics, one of the other things is the finance minister has not really gone into the details of how the fiscal deficit or the revenue deficit will be broken down or curbed. He's mentioned that he wants to curb the fiscal deficit to 4.1%. Now, how that will be done has not been detailed.
I think another thing adding to that only would be that 45% of 45% of what already was allocated as funds to fiscal deficit has been used up.
In the first couple of months of this particular annum. So they just have 55% remaining. Moody's had clearly mentioned that we won't downgrade India even if they revise their budget to 5%, which would be normal. So even when the finance minister had room, he perhaps did not use it for some reason. Let's not do it.
I think another interesting thing about the budget is the allocation of funds to the roadways. Along with that, the defense also, wherein we've, I think, allocated about 25,000 lakh crore for defense purposes.
Yeah, they've allocated more resources to that, and as well as that, they've increased the FDI to 49%. But again, xenophobically, they've kept the control of the industry with the Indian
Counterparts of.
Indian counterparts, unless specifically approved by the FIPB.
Yeah. So, as students of finance, I come from a totally different background. You all are aware of that. Don't you all think that, like you spoke about the xenophobia, Gaurav, isn't it a good step towards progress where we are actually going in for a more globalized approach and asking for FDI and public and private partnership that was suitably shown in the railway budget as well is a step forward from where we are today?
So I'm going to take that one. A lot of projects, including India needs 15,000 kilometers of gas pipeline. Now that is going to come through the public-private partnership. a lot of projects which the Finance Minister Jaitley has announced are all through PPP. So he has actually brought in a lot of rather than globalized, a lot of corporatized
Inputs into the
so it's
industry.
going to be an infusion of the government in that.
True.
So it's something that's good to look forward to. Japan has been investing quite a lot. And another thing, the bullet train which was announced, 60,000 crore, is also with respect to Japan. So they are the ones, I think it's called JICB or something.
Yeah.
They will be the one who will be investing those 60,000 crores.
Yeah.
Talking it from a banking perspective as well. So India is soon supposed to become Basel III compliant. And that's by 2018 if I'm not wrong. And the banks would require around 2,29,000 crore of capital, fresh capital to be infused. Now, I'm glad to see that this visionary government and the budget has taken that into account right away in 2014, and they are planning to step down
6 weeks into government
Yes,
formation.
Exactly. So they're planning to step down their share in these PSU banks and give a direct
Inviting.
shareholding. Yeah,
It's
give
gonna
a
be,
direct shareholding to
it's
public.
going to be an FPO. So they're coming out with an FPO for the capital infusion. Another thing would be the taxation structure. I think the income tax has been increased from the
2 lakh.
exemption from 2 lakh to 2.5.
Yeah.
So the finance minister actually stated that it's actually a good thing to do because it provides a hedge to the ever increasing inflation. So that is something that it's good that he's doing.
But however, with the taxation again, now there have been good steps and there have been bad. The retrospective tax has again not been repealed, and any specific solution to the Vodafone case, which took the headlines by storm, that has not been found. The retrospective tax is still in effect, and all cases of retrospective tax must be addressed to a committee before they are actually legally acted upon. Also, the GST, which they've been debating about continuously, again, no concrete measure has been mentioned to get that into effect, and the government just says that it is going to bring that into effect by December, but how, when, no clue.
I think we'll have to play the wait and watch game for that. We've got a lot of serious inputs from you, and that's a very big thank you to all of you for that. Let's come down to a slightly comfortable topic for me. The finance minister announced that there will be 5 new IITs and IIMs in the country. What is your take on that? We were all there in the race some time back, and what is this like a example of brand dilution?
It's commoditization.
So this is one aspect that we'll be covering with our other panel. But your closing views on the budget, Harsh, rating it like a movie on a 5-star scale.
So I'd probably rate it at 3.
Yeah?
At best, yeah.
Yeah? Gaurav?
A 3, yeah. So if it's a Times of India rating, it's perhaps a 3.5. It's a Mumbai Mirror rating, it's a 2.5.
That was a cheeky one there, Devashish. So there we get a rating of around 2.5 to 3.5 from the financial whizzes of Pune right now, who will be taking on the global financial world very soon. So thank you for your time, Harsh, Gaurav and Devashish. It was very nice talking to you. Good night. Those were Devashish, Gaurav and Harsh about their views on the union budget, and that was a very focused finance man's perspective on the budget. Let us cut across to a media student's perspective on the union budget. Cutting you across now to my very good friends Prateek Dham and Arjun Singh. Let us see what they have to say about the union budget. Hi Prateek. Hi Arjun.
Hi.
As you know, the union budget was announced by our Honorable Finance Minister today. What are the key takeaways that you have from it? I'll start with Arjun.
So for me, I think a couple of the highlights. So a couple of highlights that I saw in the budget was that it had something regarding incubation centers and also a startup. They pay good significance on startups. And also one highlight is they're going digital in more sense. Like you have e-visas that are being introduced. They're giving importance to penetration to internet in great areas. Even the railways is giving importance to penetration of internet. And moreover, it's like a digital budget which is going on.
Okay, Prateek, you're from Delhi. As a Delhiite, how does this budget look to you?
Dude, the most significant thing, when I look at the budget, I see that there's gonna be more tax on a cigarette smoker. As a Delhiite, I see it's between 11 and 72%. So according to what I think, according to what I can measure right now, a miles ka packet that I smoke is going to cost me almost more than $300 now if it goes on to 72% ka tax. So it's going to be very difficult for me to smoke from here on.
I'm so happy for you, Pratik.
I'm not. Okay. Apart from that, more than 2 lakh crore for the defense budget that they have come out with, which was, I guess, about 80,000. It was one third of what it is right now.
Correct.
In the last budget. And 50,000 crore for SC/STs. I'm happy for them, but I think it's another 100 crore for the madrasas. My goodness me, so Narendra Modi is trying to capture the whole Muslim market as of
The way he has been doing it in Gujarat.
Yeah.
Don't you think 100 crores was the asking rate for almost everything? 100 crores for the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel statue, 100 crores for... Oh, 200 crores. So 200 crores for the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel statue, 200 crores for women empowerment. So I think, and the flavor of the day was 100 crores. So anything that came to Mr. Jaitley's mind, I think he's allocated 100 crores for that. Another important point was that 5 new IITs and IIMs have been announced, and that takes the tally to, I don't know, what, 12, 15 and stuff, 60. So this is such a good news for Shadi.com, you know, because there'll be a whole new category called IITians and IIMs. And I tweeted about this earlier in the day that you could have a new business proposition of marry an IITian.com. What is your take on it, Arjun? Would you like to take that forward?
It's like it was not that every second guy is an Indian somewhere, it's going to be every second guy is an IIM and IIT. Because it's
But
like...
Tell me honestly, didn't you want to be an IIM or an IIT grad? Tell me.
Yeah, I wanted, but the thing is, like, at the end of it, it's going to be like Amity spread all over these small colleges, budding all over it, and these IITs and IIMs.
So you're saying the brand equity will be diluted.
Exactly. The kind of importance that they used to hold when there were a couple of them to what they are now. It's
But
like,
if you look at it positively, for a nation of 1.25 billion people, a lot more IITs and IIMs are required. So we should congratulate Mr. Arun Jaitley for his vision.
Don't you think the quality is going to be
Yeah.
down considerably?
Let's be optimistic, Pratik. Let's be optimistic, and I'd like to close in with your final take on the budget. Whatever would be your message to Mr. Arun Jaitley.
so you want to go first?
Mr. Arun Jaitley, you're trying to do a good job with the budget, but obviously when it comes down to everything, when I selectively filter everything else, everything in the budget, for me, it's the cigarette smoking wala part.
We got your message loud and clear, Pratik.
And apart from the IITs and IIMs that you're talking about, even AIMS he's trying to set up
in every state. So it'll be all India Institute of Medical Sciences in every state.
In every state. I don't understand this part from this guy. Okay, anyway, he's trying to
It's
do
like
a
trying to
good
make India world famous in
Yeah.
Mumbai.
Yeah, so every guy would, as he said, there are going to be more number of IITians and IIMs than the whole Chinese population. I know whatever.
They're surprising the entire world as opposed to just Indians.
Yeah, everybody's gonna.
Your closing words,
So,
Arjun.
so I think
Primarily.
So it's like a good budget. Seems like a good budget. They are trying to satisfy everybody by giving as much as they have in their pockets. But one key takeaway from this is, as they are increasing resources, I think people from outside, like outside India, probably will come down to India to leverage on these resources more.
Thank you so much for your time and views, Pratik and Arjun. Much appreciated. So
Thank
that was Pratik and Arjun giving their views on the union budget. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to a close of this special newscast of Deadlines Tonight. We hope you liked our coverage of the union budget, and if you did, we would love it if you could subscribe to us by hitting the subscribe button down there. We are available on most social networks. We are Deadlines Tonight on Facebook, and you can reach out to me on Twitter. My handle is Gora Chhora, that's GORACHHORA. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrap from everyone at Deadlines Tonight. Keep watching.